Hello and welcome to MP Access, the official podcast of the 5-Star Institute and Mortgage Point magazine. My name is Gina Galusha and I am here today with Christina Griffin. She's joining us from Gemstone Realty at Velocity 2026 in New Orleans. We were just talking about beignets and maybe how this city is a little
smelly.
Stinky. Yeah, it's stinky. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Glad
I'm
you're
excited
here.
to be here.
Yes. So I heard you on the panel last night talking about your experience and kind of how do you get out there and how do you find leads, right? And new clients. I would love to hear more, and I'm sure our audience would too, in terms of what's your background? How'd you get to where you are now?
I will try and make it quick.
You don't have to. I can ask intermittent questions, and it will be great.
Okay, so sounds good. So how I got into real estate. My mom died when I was 9,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She passed away, and she was a real estate broker. So I have a story that I like to tell often because I feel like the things I've been through are for a reason, and I share it. So my mom, dad, and sister died all 9 years apart, and so when I had to take custody of my sister that was 2 years younger than me, I had a choice to either go to my full ride and my scholarship and go into college. And my ex-husband said, "Why don't you just get into real estate like your mom?" And so at 18, I decided to go into real estate. So it was a very non-planned. The first 2 years of my career, I ran a very large 650 unit apartment community.
Wow.
And at age 21, I got my real estate license and started working for a small investor. And that small investor said, "I just want you to sell my properties and find me more." And needless to say, I sold them all very fast and got really great at finding him properties. And a lot of my journey started in the investor world. At 21 years old, I would stand up in front of investor meetup groups and tell people that I'm going to help them find homes. And I would rent large buses and fill them with investors at 21 and have contractors and hard money lenders and go tour REO properties. So my first year I sold 50 homes. The second year I sold over 100, and I have ever since. Wow. So that's, I call it my first take in it. And getting into REO happened because I did hundreds of transactions with investors and assignments and wholesaling and things to that nature and flips. The hard money lenders called me and said, "We're starting to take back these properties and they're going into foreclosure. Can you sell these junky properties or these properties that you were part of in the initial sale?" So
because you knew them.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was around 3 years later. I think I was 24, and that's when I started REO, and I'm 46 right now.
Oh, I never would have guessed that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So it's interesting that you started with investors.
Yes.
That's not the typical route. How did you get hooked up with that initial investor? How did you meet them and then gain their trust?
It was just an ad in the paper. He was looking for an assistant.
Oh, wow.
That's it. So I got really bored at the apartment community. It was a full lease up and renovation. So at the age of 18, I managed the entire complex. And so by the time I was 21, just had my first child, I decided I'm going to get my real estate license because I was bored out of my mind. But I needed a paycheck. So that's where I started as his assistant and got licensed at 21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was interesting.
It is. So where did you go from there? You started working in REOs, selling REOs for the hard money lenders, and then what's next?
So at that point, I outgrew the relationship with the small real estate company who eventually became my business partner. I was selling hundreds of houses a year. And I ended up going to Coldwell Banker. And brought all of the listings and the relationships. And I went there because of my relationship with one REO broker. And that one REO broker, within 24 hours, I was hired. And they asked me to take a territory for REO that nobody wanted. And so needless to say, it was a very interesting transition. So hundreds of bank foreclosures, learned very quickly because Coldwell Banker had their own REO asset management company. So it continued to grow. However, when you have over 100 assets a year and 2 kids, life it usually gets in the way. So I was 385 pounds at that time.
Excuse me?
Yes.
No way.
Yes. So because when you stay up really late at night doing BPOs.
Yes.
And eating junk food. So, health, kept getting in the way. I also was told by my office, don't worry about the leads on your properties. The people that are calling just bothering you, they use those to recruit agents to the office, but never helped point me in the right direction to manage those leads. And so what I did is Bank of America said, we need you to go to this guy, Tom Ferry, and we partnered with, and we need you to be a good agent. Tell us your thoughts about this partnership. Needless to say, I walked out really angry because I didn't have a CRM. I was selling hundreds of homes a year. I did not have agents, leads. I did not see any revenue on that. So I walked out upset, confronted my broker. How come you have never showed us or told me, Christina, you should be doing this? And I decided to get into coaching immediately and wanted to, I'd say, take my business back or take control of it.
Yes.
And so I immediately attracted the attention of Tom Ferry because I was the number 2 agent in all of Coldwell Banker International. And he had a partnership with them as well. And so I was being mentored by some of the best and decided to start a team. And so the team kept growing, and my health continued to get in the way. So I ended up going from the number 2 single agent to the number 2 largest team and highest producing units in the country. So needless to say, that kept growing, but I didn't have the right financial structure with that team. Nobody said, Christina, you should put your agents on a 50-50 split when you give them a lead. So I knew something wasn't right. So I decided to leave the current company I was in because I felt that I needed to be part of an environment that I structured things correctly and I can continue to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're coaching. You still do that today. I remember talking about that with you.
Yeah. So I was being coached. But my next transition, I went to Keller Williams for a very long time and brought almost 40 people with me.
Whoa.
And so I continued to restructure and learn how to run a team and was coached by really great coaches and made a really great contact with the CEO of Keller Williams, who started mentoring me one-on-one. And I decided to become a coach myself. So I have been a coach for multiple organizations and just fell in love with it. Being able to help people learn how to do things that I made mistakes on, but help prevent them from making those mistakes. I just became passionate and on fire for that and continue to grow inside of the coaching space. I created the number 1 group program with my prior world called Dominate Off-Market Listings and taught thousands of agents what I did for the 10 years prior to that, from short sales to working with investors and REO. And so it kept growing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there, I, fell in love with leadership and continued to grow inside of that space, ran, very large paid, communities and where I had 500 plus people paying a monthly fee. But I loved it because it's my tribe. So I had the team, but I was able to have these agents all across the country that were working together around the same opportunity. I ran a very large referral and relocation department. And again, that kept growing. Some things changed inside of the, I call it corporate world. So I was with another company where I was on their core executive team for 2 years, but I wasn't able to sell real estate and was not able to do the things that I love and had to teach the things that were not my choice. So I decided to make the transition to where I am because this company has and was always my number one client. Thousands of transactions I did with them. I've known our head of REO for almost 20 years, and they just kept calling me and said, we need someone to help grow the brokerage. And that's where I've made the transition. It's great. I live maybe 15 minutes from the office.
Love that.
So it's great to not have to fly out to visit an office. It's just for conferences and training events and things like that. So it's it definitely has been a very interesting transition. But I've looked back and reflected why I've made changes, and you can't go backwards, but every time you learn from it.
Right.
And I am very passionate for helping agents create opportunity and also having work-life balance. So have a really amazing family. And but all in all, I say that's my story. I lost the 200 pounds. I beat cancer.
Wow.
I decided when I was going to go down leadership and coaching, I needed to lead by example. And so it's been a very interesting transition, but I love it. I go to CrossFit like 6 days a week,
That's a lot on your bones.
Yes, I love it though. Heavy weight lifting, it's very passionate. So CrossFit and then Burn Boot Camp, their community and ecosystem is amazing. So that's been about the last year and a half where physically I've gotten much stronger.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is your role and kind of your mandate at Gemstone? What's your goals for the coming year?
Sure. My role is Senior Vice President of Growth. So the role really touches everything that has to do with agents and the growth of the company.
Okay.
So what that looks like is we've been able to put a lot of amazing things in place from my experience running very large retail brokerages. So from training and coaching platforms to additional leads and systemizing and creating culture. We're getting ready to do, starting next week, a 12-week reboot that I've designed where every week the agents are going to do activities to grow, where they do an action and it creates results. And so my role is to really, truly all things grow Gemstone. So they would like to grow it everywhere in the U.S. I know a lot of people think of us as, it's just that REO real estate company. It's not. We have luxury and retail and commercial and just lots of amazing things due to the ecosystem I'm part of.
Right. So do you right now have regions where you mostly are and you're looking to expand outside of that?
Yeah, so we're in over 15 states. So the goal is to grow each and every one of those states is as strong as possible. We are opening in a few additional states, Tennessee, North Carolina, Maryland, Michigan, looking to grow inside of those. But that comes the who. You need the broker.
Yes.
And you need
the right one.
You need the right broker and you need the who. We do have not a lot of people are aware, we opened actual regional office centers. So we have Orlando, a beautiful office in Orlando, which is we call it our regional office, but it looks like a retail office. There's a training room. We're also in St. Louis. We're in Atlanta. For those brick and mortar locations. And we just opened in Ohio, in Cincinnati and Cleveland, and we're in Birmingham. But everywhere that Face Servicing has their corporate locations, our agents have the ability to go in. So I work out of the Tampa office that is a beautiful, our main corporate office, but our agents get to go in there. So it's a very different environment for most agents. But that office, it's beautiful, but you've got from loss mitigation to servicing to our construction team, but everyone's under one roof.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's shift a little bit to coaching. If there were 3 things that you would say, do these things and you will level up.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, I'm a big fan of getting clarity on where you spend your time. And a lot of us still think like, I call it chaos. We need to remember that we are business owners. So one of the activities I love to tell agents is to take a look at the last 30 days and write down exactly where you spent your time. So, and having clarity on your goals is important. So before I ever start, I call it business plans or adding additional leads and systems for agents, that's something I always require. Then you need to look at every single bill that you have to pay to run your household in your life. And having clarity in that, when someone can see based upon my mortgage, my current habits, my current expenses, not even business, I need to make $15,000 a month to break even. So when you get clarity on the why, then it will help you when the days aren't really great and you get yelled at and hung up on or deals fall through. It'll help you push forward. So that's the first thing, clarity on what you spend time in your goals, on where you have to be.
Question on clarity, where you spend your time. I've seen that piece of advice so many times, and every time I'm like, but that would take so much time.
Yeah.
How much time do you think it actually takes to sit down and say, how did I spend my time?
Well, the beautiful thing right now with AI, and especially if you have things in your calendar, you can actually have Claude connect to your calendar and you can say, I need a detailed list of every one of my appointments and where I spent my time this week. Now that's if you put it on your calendar.
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing, it's super simple. I'm a big fan of what I call a brain dump.
Okay.
And a brain dump is something that agents should be doing daily and weekly, but you literally you just have your calendar and you jot down, okay, this is what I did. But here's the biggest thing. A lot of times you just have to put a mirror up and really be truthful with yourself, because a lot of times we are squirrels, right? You have every intent to do that mailing to your sphere, but someone wanted to go and see a property. And you had every intent to lead generate, but it took you longer to figure out who to call than the amount of phone numbers that you picked up the phone and did. So for me, it's really looking back at what it was. And the reason why I do that, I'm a big fan of what I call administrative blocks, because really, truly, you have daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. And those daily, weekly, and monthly tasks, when you batch them, and I'll use an REO agent as an example.
Please.
For me, I get up at 4:30 every morning. So I know most people look at that and think you're crazy. But my coach, every time I came back and said, I want to do more, he says, what do you think you're going to have to do? And that's get up early. So I started getting up after 7. And a little bit every single time I get up at 4:30. Well, my coffee pot goes off and it's dark roast and it's bulletproof coffee and that wakes me up. I don't have an alarm. It wakes me up. So I have that morning time. And why I do that, I have morning time, I have a devotional, but while I drink my coffee before I go to Burn Boot Camp at CrossFit at 6, it gives me at least an hour fully focused with no cell phone, no phones ringing, to open Pyramid, to see what my tasks are, to make sure that everything, last minute tasks that popped in are handled, to look at what maybe assistant needs to have or inspections that need to be ordered. But the amount of time when you are fully focused on that one thing and that administrative block, you get 10 times as many things done.
Because no one's talking to you.
Correct.
Yes.
So I'm also, it's important for me to unplug for lunch. And so I'm okay if we have meetings, but that's the other time, at least 30 minutes of focused time that you're doing that. But, I think everyone needs to be honest. And the other aspect I do is meal prep. So I also don't have days I sleep in. I get up the same day every single week. But the activities are different. On Sunday, I'm doing laundry and I'm meal prepping. And yes, I like to meal prep, because I love to cook. And so again, you've got to look at how you need to be present in your family and what sacrifices that you need to make. And I think for me, as you get clarity in goals and you get clarity in time, a lot of times, and anyone listening to this, you've probably said it yourself. Well, I'm so stressed. I feel like I don't have time with my family, or I don't have time to break, or I don't have time to unplug. But it still comes down to a choice. I get up every morning at the same time because I refuse to give up date night. I refuse to give up time, a family night, and time with my grandbabies and church and volunteering. And so it's a choice. So we have to choose our heart. We have to choose, are we willing to make the sacrifices so we're present in everything we want to do? Or is it a choice that you don't want to act like a business owner and you don't want to, make that early morning? But I also kind of die at 8:30 at night. So
I was just going to say, what time do you go to sleep?
It is so bad. My husband teases me. As soon as I sit on my bed, I'm done. So I'm out. But, again, it all comes down to those choices. And if I can do it, they can. But again, we overcomplicate things. So I like task lists, and I think as an REO agent, those of us that thrive in it really thrive in task. So it is as simple as a notepad, and everything you need to do, you're writing it down. And you when you have that time, you block it off and you're calling who you have to call back, what contracts you have to prep, what mailers you need to send out. So you have to brain dump those tasks, and then you have to, I do prep for the week, an admin block on Sunday after church. My husband golfs every Sunday, so it's like my 2 to 3 hours of, prep time. And you look at it on, do I really need to do it, or how can I leverage it? And so that's the lens I do. So when you are scaling and you're running a big company and you want to be present and you want to sell real estate and all the different things, I look at things on, do I have to do it? Certain things I really love. Like I like doing BPOs. Yes, I'm crazy. I like doing BPOs.
If you like it, you like it. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I use somebody to prep them. That they take the comp sci pool and they type in all the minutia, and then I do the things that the asset managers care about. So there are things that we can leverage and choices that we can make. So, all right. So clarity on your goals.
Yes, we took a long time on that.
Yeah,
keep going.
Clarity on your goals. Understanding what you need to commit to. Okay. And reflection on what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then you have to have prep time. To prep for the week, for your family and your business, a minimum of 2 hours every week where you are not distracted. I have 2 cell phones. And so some of my prep time, I look like a crazy person because I'm walking in my neighborhood. So I get my cardio done sometimes where I have 2 phones and I literally am dictating to this one what I see on this one. So it's funny. My neighbors laugh because I'll trip on a dog or, but at least I'm getting my cardio
Yes.
and I'm doing things but you have to have that prep time and most of us don't. And if you have that prep time and that reflection on what I did good and what choices I need to make, and you have that prep time, it will help you start off the week personally and professionally. And it's going to help you continue to grow. So, and that's something for me that is a non-negotiable.
Okay. So tell us about number 3.
Okay. So number 3 is for me, it's the execution in it. Mm-hmm. So, when we understand our finances and what we're spending in the prep, we also need to make sure that we're spending time on the right things. So what most agents need right now is they need probably at least 2 more levers of business. And what I mean by that is, for me, let's just say an REO agent as an example. Mm-hmm. An REO agent, I spoke about how they can have their field service company or their field service inspector drop cash offer call to actions on the surrounding houses.
You talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us, give us specifics about that. What is that? How does it work, etc.?
So something like that is an example. So, as you get clarity on your goals and you get clarity on where your money comes from, you need to look at how can I maybe do a few things to make more, right? So, for me, I started the cash offer call to action world, probably over 10 years ago. And what that looks like.
Before it was cool?
Before it was cool. Actually, it was a lot cooler because I work with companies like Invitation Homes.
Right.
That were buying anything that fit inside of a little tiny box. If it fit inside their buy box, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, under this, in this area, they would buy everything at full market value.
Oh, wow.
So when I created those relationships, it also helped me put a system around this. So when you get a REO or you get a listing, and you're working with a cash offer or cash offer call, platform, you need to look at that listing as that catalyst to have conversations with the neighbors. So for me, I had the REO listings. So, and then I had this investor that said, anything you can possibly help me buy, I'll buy it. So I took the listing to give me a reason to connect with the neighbors, and we would populate the neighborhood with cash offer letters.
Okay. And what do those look like? You put them on the door? You put them in the mail?
I love COVID style ding dong ditch. That's what I call it. Yeah. And so that's what I call it. So you may have also heard the cash offer letter called as a golden letter. So I used to teach on a golden letter a lot. So is
that like golden ticket in Willy Wonka?
Yeah. Yes. So, just a simple, clear door hanger bag. You can buy them on Amazon. I love Astro Bright colored paper. And you put a piece of hard candy in to hold it. And the golden letter, we call it, what it is I am working with a buyer in your neighborhood that is interested in buying homes for cash. If you would like to know what your home, or like to know what they pay for your home, give me a call. Now, when you use the listing as a catalyst, it's even easier because you have that listing. That listing goes pending after the open house or whatever that looks like. Then we had 32 showings. That means we have 32 buyers looking for a home in your area because it went under contract already. Please call me. if you'd like to know what the buyer's willing to pay for your house.
Oh my gosh, that's so good, because I get those all the time, and I'm like, sorry, I left my house, and I throw them in the trash. But if that is, you talked yesterday about data and those particular numbers, and like 100%. There are 30 people out there interested in a house like yours.
100%.
It makes it seem so much easier. There's an obstacle that you've already jumped for them,
Absolutely. And, for the agents that are probably listening to this have a lot of listings, right? Or they're working in the default with listings, and they probably don't do open houses unless their asset manager makes them do an open house. So utilizing that open house as a catalyst where first you're letting the neighbors know, hey, I'm going to do an open house. I want you to let you know it's going to be really busy. But if you would like to come for a chance to pick your neighbor or refer someone to me, please, let me know. And then you're touching them again to say, gosh, 32 people came through this house. Would you like to know? So it takes time, but most of us have field service inspectors. Why, when they're going to do their biweekly property photos, it takes an extra 5 minutes to drop the neighborhood. So, the number 3 is really looking at where you make money. The other thing that I find as an example that agents forget that we're running a business, I'll give you an example. You have to Google your name once a month. Most REO agents that I have met with, they don't even have a realtor.com profile. We're running a business. So we have to inspect what we expect. So you Google your name, you make sure all your profiles are updated, you make sure a phone number that you're going to actually answer. But most of us are so busy. So I went to having someone answer my phone 7 days a week. So because they capture the buyer, if it's a buyer or a realtor that doesn't know how to follow showing instructions. And then via email, you can forward, hey, buyer's agent, hey, staff, transaction coordinator, help me.
Right.
So there are a lot of things we're doing, and we're doing it the hard way. And so there's so many tiny things that we can do to make money.
This has been really great. To wrap up, I kind of want to do a quick recap because you have covered so much good business. One thing I love that you said in terms of data points and touch points, you said when there's an open house, touch point, when it's sold, touch point, do you have friends to refer, touch point. The way that you phrase it too, one of my favorite Ben Franklin quotes, and I'm going to fully botch it, was something like, if you want to persuade a man, speak to his self-interest. And that's really what you've captured, right? You don't just say, hi, I sold a house, which is what I see so often. You say, I sold a house and there's 30 other people who are still looking for one.
Yes.
Or, who do you want to live here? Yep. Who do you want your neighbor to be? So that I love that. Really appreciate your recapture of just kind of what are your top 3 things to move forward. And I would say that they're a little bit different than what you typically hear. Like, examine your life, hold up a mirror, and prep for success, and make time for success.
Absolutely.
Because I think that really is what it comes down to. Look at your phone and see how much time you spent on your phone and where you spent it.
Yes.
That one's huge, huge. So, goals for this year for you are that you are looking to grow Gemstone. So for those people who are looking for a home with really good coaching and purpose-driven atmosphere, where are you looking for folks to come from?
Yeah, great question. So ideally, every state we're in. We are in currently over 15.
Okay.
Everywhere I mentioned. So I personally, if you are in a situation that maybe you don't have enough opportunity, you feel like you can't pay for coaching, you need direction on how to grow your business, and you want to be part of a culture of agents that are opportunity focused and driven. And again, there's multiple paths from loss mitigation to online leads to our investor groups that we're launching throughout the country. So for me, I'd love to hear from
How do they find you?
Yeah, great question. So social media, I have public profiles all over the place, but for me, my email would be best. So which is cgriffin@gemstonerealty.com.
Okay, and Griffin is Griffin.
Yes. And then our Gemstone Realty website, I'm there. But again, some of the things that I taught and we talked about today, I'll give you a super simple example. Go check me on Zillow. I'm in Tampa. If you put in Tampa, I'm number 3 and I don't pay a dime. And so I promise you, I'm not hard to find. And I'm a big proponent of, if you have somebody leading you that does not know or hasn't done what they're teaching and training you to do, that's very different here. So again, we are a ecosystem that has tons of leads, tons of opportunities, because Gemstone does own property management and field service and construction. And we're one of the biggest mortgage servicers in the country. So when people need to sell their house, they come to us and to our agents. So again, opportunity, an agent that wants opportunity and is willing to work for it. And if they need to learn how to do it, we have all the training and paths around that. So
honestly, I think opportunity is the perfect word to encapsulate this podcast.
Yes.
From 18 on, you've been seizing those opportunities and making them work. Yeah. So I love it. Perfect.
I call my coaching the people. I have a group that I teach multiple times on a weekly basis, and we call it the Opportunity Network. So
Opportunity Hour, 3 times a week.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Really loved this conversation. So many great nuggets of specific actions people can take. If you take away just three, and apply them to your month this month, I guarantee you will see some good positive changes.
Awesome.
So thank you for joining us. And
I appreciate it.
We'll see you next time on MP Access.
Thanks for listening to MP Access. Stay up to date with daily mortgage news, featured stories, and our latest episodes of the podcast at themortgagepoint.com. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next week.